bit grumpy, which is a normal day for me as it goes. Cool. So in today's video, I wanted to speak about something which is really the kind of cornerstone or the foundation for people suffering with excessive blushing, yeah, which is the difference, yeah, between, our reaction, our instinctive reaction towards blushing, yep, and the path we need to go down to resolve it fully for life. So what do I mean by that? Well, imagine, yep, if you blush and you've had some bad experiences, and then your reaction to blushing, so the normal, intrinsic, not natural, but instinctive way that you react to blushing is self-reinforcing. So not only does it make you blush more, not only does it make your blushing increase in intensity, not only does it make your blushing increase in frequency, but it makes you feel more uncomfortable with it. It makes you think about it more. It makes you dwell on it more. It makes you ruminate on it more. So many people, yeah, accidentally, not deliberately, end up doing the exact opposite things, which are constantly making their blushing worse and worse and worse. So we get caught in a trap, don't we? Where people obviously want to solve this blushing problem completely. They want to feel better in themselves, but their reaction is something they ignore. Their instinctive reaction is continuously self-reinforcing the blushing, going round and round and round and round and round in ways that they don't recognize. Yep. So this is the real kind of cornerstone of blushing. Because if you can imagine in yourself, if that's happening, then people can try anything, they can do anything, but the blushing will only get worse. Yeah, it'll be a problem that endures over and over and over again. Yeah. And nearly always, key part of my job when I speak to people about blushing or anxiety or any stress related problem, yep, is them seeing in themselves how the habits we instinctively follow are self-reinforcing. So let me give you an example of that. So imagine if I blushed and had a bad experience. Yep. Then what would I do? Well, probably shut down, hide. What does that do to my brain? It tells my brain that that was a bad experience. That was a dangerous experience, and it ignites more stress hormones. What happens then? Well, more stress makes it more intense, more uncomfortable. It will probably make me blush for longer, for in a more prolonged way. Yep. What happens then? Well, after the bad experience of blushing, I'm then going to move away and shut down and hide further. And then what am I going to do? Well, the reaction's going to be to ruminate on it, to think about on it, to dwell on it, to try and like mentally, control it in some sort of way as if you can avoid those things from happening. And this is impossible. It's impossible to do that. But most of us are going to go following a route where we blush, we react in a certain way, 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 and it's going to create a self-reinforcing loop. And that loop is the very thing that traps us, is the very thing that makes normal, reasonable blushing to excessive, uncomfortable blushing to blushing that often people have been in their 40s or 50s that have spoke to me about their blushing. Yeah, been confident, kind of busy professional people, but they've had this one thing that's held them back, and that's caused a kind of cascade of other things in their life that they've ignored. Yep, it's capped their self-confidence, capped their self-esteem, capped their ability to feel strong, socially, relaxed, comfortable, at ease, flowing in a way that they want to. Cool. So what is the opposite to that? What is the cure of blushing, guys, which is the video that I'm making today? Yep. So imagine going around that circle. Well, that circle is purely a habit. And habits, yep, our brain likes to follow. So the only problem right now is that you followed that habit for a period of time, and now it's become natural. Now it's become automatic. Now it's become something that you don't even think about. You just follow intrinsically. You just go round and round that pattern whilst ruminating in your head, like blushing, damn it, this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing. So what you want to do is to give yourself as an exercise to see the simplest and the quickest way to solve your blushing. The camera's running out of battery. Yep. Is to imagine going to the opposite side. Yep. Because when we have a habit that's instinctive, all we need to do is look at where the habit is taking us, go to the opposite side, and then the habit collapses down. Does that make sense? Yep. So imagine my reaction to blushing might be to shut down and hide. Yep. Well, yeah, obviously that's telling my brain that I'm unsafe. So the opposite would be, we say, yeah, I'm blushing, go over it, guys. Yep. Go over yourself. Would be to be expressive and loud. I know that's really difficult for people, but I'm saying you that's really the key aspect, isn't it? Because your reaction is 100% the same every time. That's what's creating the experience and the pain you associate with blushing. Whereas when you do anything on the opposite side, consciously and deliberately, it collapses the pattern down, and then you'll feel neutral towards it. So what's the reaction after that? So someone might shut down, and then they might feel really uncomfortable, judge themselves for it, criticize themselves for it. The opposite would be saying, yeah, that's totally fine. Probably shouldn't swear, but it's totally fine. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Yeah. That was a good experience. What can I learn from this experience? Rather than judging themselves self-critically, feeling shame, feeling guilt, feeling bad, beating themselves up, it's moving in a direction where you do the opposite in that way. Yep. And you kind of see in yourself that there's a better way to approach it. So for anyone to kind of conquer this problem, the main aspect is that where you see in yourself, your instinctive reactions are self-reinforcing it, because if they weren't, you wouldn't have this problem. Yep. And what can you do on the other side to break the problem down? Yep. And then you'll find a conflict in between. So you might see that as the way out, but you'll be like, well, Paul, I just don't want to do it. Paul, yeah, there's going to be resistance in between here, thinking it's going to be painful, thinking it's going to be difficult, when, it isn't in reality, is it? Because all we need to do is take stepping stones in that direction. So say if someone totally shuts down 100% of the times when they blush, doesn't say anything, hides, walks away, avoids, well, we need to move in the opposite direction. So if you engage, if you speak, if you express yourself, if you joke about blushing, if you say things, if you move in the opposite direction, it's going to break down that pattern and you're going to feel differently. Rather than 100% of the time you feel a certain way when you blush, it's going to be different. Sometimes you feel this way, sometimes you feel that way. And it'll broaden your brain's reaction to the experience, and you'll feel different and you'll think different and you'll act different in different ways. So that's really the kind of cornerstone of it, where for anyone to conquer blushing, you have to take those 3 steps, where you have to acknowledge that there's certain patterns that I'm going around in that are self-reinforcing, that are creating this problem in a way that I haven't really considered. I keep looking at myself rather than looking at the camera. Yep. And it's knowing in ourselves that we don't mean to, obviously, but that is the cornerstone. That is the aspect that's causing blushing to grow worse and worse and worse and worse. Now, all we have to do is be honest about those aspects and then imagine, what can we do that tells the opposite message to my brain? So if I shut down and hide, it tells my brain I'm safe. If I'm open and expressive, yep, and say, yeah, blush, get over it, whatever. Yeah, nice one. Yeah, my skin is red. Yeah, that's right. Goes red sometimes. One of those things. Yeah. It sends the opposite message to our brain, and then we feel more comfortable every single time we have one of those experiences. Now, I know most people don't want to do that, and I know most people find it difficult. And a lot of people might have social anxiety issues or confidence issues. Yeah, but we have to move in that direction because there is no other way out. Everything we avoid, any insecurity that we hide from, yeah, it creates the insecurity. Any insecurity where we shine the light of day on it immediately disappears. Yeah, and we simply no longer have it. The act of hiding, the act of avoiding is the very thing that is creating the very pain, the very suffering, the very discomfort, all the things that we don't want. Yep. So see on that side the patterns, the direction they're leaning you in, and then say, so what's the opposite I can do to that pattern? Yep. So someone takes it really seriously, be jokey, be funny. Someone shuts down and hides, be expressive. Yep. In that kind of way. Yeah. If someone avoids every single experience they could possibly blush, go into those experiences, openly blush, move towards those things. Yeah. Now, I don't mean obviously doing this obsessively. I don't mean doing this to the point where it's painful, but just being aware that there's a red line. Yep. Right there. Because I just put one there. And just below this red line, your blushing is always self-reinforcing and always getting worse. Just above this red line, every single blushing experience, your blushing will get better and better, and you'll blush less frequently, less intensely, and you'll feel more comfortable in yourself in every single way. If that makes sense? Cool. Hey, Clifton, hope you're doing great. Thumbs up to you. So that's the basic foundation of it, isn't it? So whenever we're caught in a painful problem or a painful pattern, yeah, we don't mean to, but we just end up being in a place where we just do the same thing over and over again. So I've got this painful blushing problem, react the same way, obsessively think about it, react the same way, so think, why is it not getting better? Why isn't it going better? It's just still staying the same. It's still staying the same. How do I get rid of my blushing? It's just still staying the same. Because we don't mean to, but we're all caught in a trap where we're never doing anything differently. We're constantly doing things that are reinforcing the blushing over and over and over again, just without realizing it. So it's taking a kind of open look, taking a step back and saying, well, what do I need to do to break this pattern completely? What do I need to do so it stops this pattern and I feel stronger and confident and more comfortable every single time, I blush. Yep. And that's the pathway that people need to move in to conquer this fully. And if this has been a problem that's gone on for years for yourself, maybe it's a problem if you're young, like 13, 15, 18, 20, yeah, then it might go away. But if you're 25, 30, 35, 40, then you really are caught in this pattern. And this pattern is probably linked to social anxiety and other aspects of your life. And you do need to recognize, that it's something that you want to fully resolve rather than just kind of hold on to, because none of us want that, to have these things hold us back in that kind of way, because it just makes us feel shame and guilt and just rubbish in ourselves in every way. But that is the pathway, guys. Awesome. So kind of take a reflect on that, and I promise you, if you do those things, it will 100% massively move you forward, make you far more comfortable, make you blush less, make you blushing less frequent, less intense, and you'll move in the direction where things will get better in every way that's right for you. Awesome, guys. Take care.